joined here with a co-host that knows the most. I didn't write down anything in advance for this. It's the one, it's the only, it's the Jen Mounts.
I don't think you write down anything in advance ever. That's not really your style. Which was not my roast. Don't take that away from me. I have a bit prepared.
Okay, please let me know.
Despite my objections from last episode, Nick Teixeira returns as my co-host this evening. My lesser half is powered by summer sausage, intrusive thoughts, and the unshakable confidence of a man far more successful than him. You're watching Pointed Questions with Nick and Jen. Yay!
Oh, episode 4. We're back, everybody, with Milo in the background. Let's see how long our co-host number 3 stays on today. For episode 4, we got a great show coming up for you guys. We're going to do a little open conversation. Jen's got some fun stuff to bring up. So do I. But then we got another produce report. Mike Scarborough with a banger of a post coming out, and Bo Greaves doing some history. We get to talk about some crazy stuff happening, and then a new segment, Fruity Fits, where we're going to take dart player fits and review them and give them a blind rating, see who makes the better list between the two of us. And then Grinder My Gears. Jen and I are getting angry. We're ranting and we're yelling at you guys. And then the pointed question of the day, darts in high school and youth darts in general here in North America. We're going to have a good conversation about that and much more here for episode 4. Jen, you said we made it longer than the average podcast. Is that already true? Are we here?
Yeah. I heard this random statistic and it was kind of shocking because it hasn't been that hard to make 3 episodes. Maybe that's just my take, but I'm proud of us for making it to episode 4. Nick, thank you for doing this with me. If you haven't noticed, I've changed the location of where I tune in for the podcast twice now. Yeah, there's a dog here. He's just a prop. He's not even my dog. I just thought the podcast needed a little sprucing up. It's fruity enough, but it's, we need to appeal to the heterosexual crowd a little better. So I got a yellow lab, America's favorite dog. Actually, that's not true. I think the yellow lab got replaced by the Frenchie the other year, like a couple years back. So sorry, Milo.
I've had a Frenchie in a few years now, Jen.
Yeah. However, you're having an absolute glow up, I must say. Although, I'm sorry, I know you don't want to talk about your sexiness and your incredible weight loss journey until you've reached your end, right?
I mean, listen, it's I'm acknowledging that it's happened. If not, it would be crazy to be in denial, right? I'd be like, nothing's going on here. But to be fair, I plan on actually talking about the journey a little bit more once I'm closer to the end, right? I have this big fear of getting that satisfaction too early on and then just stopping. In fact, I still am not even halfway to my actual goal here. In this transformation process, this butterfly is sprouting some goddamn wings.
See, I'm trying to do the opposite of you. I'm trying to bulk up, I want to go from a charismatic B cup to a delectable C cup. You know what I'm saying?
No,
you don't know what I'm saying.
You're not at all. Can you try that again? Can you word that, but you're explaining it to a class of kindergartners, please? The same thing.
I also don't know what I'm saying. I was just making a bad joke about I obviously cannot change my bra size, Nick. That's not gonna just change because
you can change the size. I want you to know you can stuff whatever you need in there. All right.
$50,000 later, sure. Guys, I could just stuff my bra.
Oh no, you're right. I like where your head's at. 50,000 likes, and Jen will get a boob job. Welcome to Pointed Questions number 4.
If this podcast gets 50,000 likes, you guys are sick.
I'll give my tip for her tats. Don't you worry, guys. I do appreciate in your new setup over there. We're going to pivot off this immediately.
Sure. Yeah.
You do have one dartboard in the background to prove you're still a darts podcaster. I do love that.
Yeah.
You have one thing.
So can I just tell the story behind the location change yet again? So
please.
The first time in episode 2, I just went across to the other side of the room in I call it the Jen Den, which was just the spare room in our house. It's where all my dartboards were set up in my desk. Yeah, definitely. And I had to kind of have this epiphany, what if we just took everything in our living room right here and put it in that spare bedroom, and it would turn into a cool movie theater / home gym. And there's like clean spaces now in the home where once you enter, this is like the play, fun, actual entertainment room. And once you cross like into the hallway, it's like clean, PJs only, pajama party in the movie theater or to bed. And it's just like been a really nice change for us. My wife likes it. So I've been just given like the front half of the house, and all my dartboards are aligned like this way. And so I kicked one on a stand just like for decoration back there. It's like definitely kids height, not regulation height. I realize right now.
I think
Yeah.
you need like a banner like that can like cover the kitchen, so it's like a drop down banner, and it's just like you and
Yeah.
I like be like our podcast banner. Maybe I'm just saying like a little drop down would be phenomenal. But no, I mean, I listen. When I got into this apartment, this was supposed to be the dining room right here behind me. Clearly, no dining is actually. I do eat a lot on my desk, but that's besides the point.
I see that little division in the wall. I honestly have never noticed it before. I just don't really look at you a whole lot. Sorry.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack.
Well,
yeah, it's my 2 cents of my life. It's
no,
my
no, no.
music and my darts.
No, but because like what's awkward about a remote podcast is we're looking into the webcam, rather than one another. And so like as a person with ADHD, I find it really difficult to like not look at you while you're talking down there. And sometimes I'll get lazy and I'll look down and not realize, but working on
Even
that skill,
Milo's
it's
looking
difficult.
at me better than you. That's crazy. He was just taking a peek there for a second. Milo is our first guest on the podcast.
He's our dream guest on the podcast.
One of my favorite stories about Milo was like years ago. Jen posted a photo Milo like by a fire pit or something. I don't even know how you framed it. Like there was a fire in front of Milo, but he wasn't actually that close. But the way the shot looked like you set Milo on fire. And I immediately was like, what did you do, Milo?
You were the only one that made that joke and enjoyed that joke. Like nobody else got on board with
to
that.
this day.
Another thing that Nick likes to do, my dog had a terrible accident where he bit into a glass mason jar and had to have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of emergency surgery. He had a gastrotomy. And it was the worst day of my life. And I've since recovered, and he's since recovered, clearly. He's okay. But very shortly after, Nick refused to not bring up a dog glass eating joke every single time we were on the phone together.
No. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I did bring up that he likes extra crunch, okay? But when we were at A to Z and we were there and the glass display shatters to no fault of anybody, just a freak accident shatters. I'm like, where's Milo when you need him? This is like a buffet for this guy.
It was like so I've been working for A to Z Darts for almost 10 years. Never in the retail space has all of the display glass just suddenly like burst and crack. Nobody's ever run into the glass like cabinet doors or like anything. And the one time Nick decides to visit our headquarters, boom, just giant shattering glass all along the floor. He's just like, where's Milo? There's a buffet for him. It was objectively very, very funny.
I only joke about trauma. I want you to know, if you're one of my personal friends and you die, you are going to be the meme of like every conversation for at least a couple of years after.
Oh man, I want you in charge of my celebration of life. I'll go ahead and say it right now. I have a couple requests to the world.
Please.
Please don't contact my wife, number one. Just leave her alone. Let her mourn in peace. Don't reach out. She's not a darts person. She's not in the darts community. It will be very upsetting if you overwhelm her with attention.
Okay.
And then number two, Nick hosts a 24-hour live stream celebration of my life, and I want people sitting on cakes. I want people
cake sitting competition. There's sprinkles. We're getting our cup sizes up.
We're getting those.
So I have two different things planned for if I tragically pass away, as long as I know it's coming. One, To the person that I most dislike, but also don't think is a bad person in my life, whoever it may be at that time, it could change. I'm going to get an African gray macaw, a bird that lives 50 plus years on average, and I'm going to adopt this bird. And in my will, say, please take care of this bird. It's my final request, and give someone a 50-year burden. But they have to be a good enough person that I think they would actually take care of the animal, but bad enough person I want to annoy them for 50 freaking years. That's one. Two, I want to take all of my closest friends, even if they don't know each other super well or not, and I'm going to send them on an international scavenger hunt. If I assume I have like, if I know like I'm like stage 4 going under, you know, it's terminal up in this bit, I'm going to go and I am going to make sure you guys have to go on this giant, like amazing race type of like odyssey. And at the end, the power of friendship brings you guys all together. I've thought about this very
You're not supposed to
heavily.
reveal. You're not supposed to reveal the end.
Oh,
You're
and
supposed to
then
make it like
something
there's some
happens
grand
at the end of
prize.
this adventure. Something happens.
That's kind of an epic screenplay for a movie.
Yeah, no, definitely
I
just
like
ripped
it.
it off. This is just Airbud 3, by the way. I've ripped off the plot of. So
I do. I think in our lifetime, you and I have to write a darts screenplay. No shade against any existing darts movies that are currently out there,
Pulse movie.
but I, I've always had a couple of running ideas in my mind, but or like maybe just I guess TV series is really the only way to go these days. Like mostly I want to make a spin-off The Office where it's just called The Warehouse. And it's like we're a darts company, right? And we have a warehouse, and it's like the same premise where maybe we're really not talking about darts a whole lot, but there's a bunch of shenanigans going on. And I already have like 7 full episodes written just based off life. Like episode 1, the dumpster's lit on fire because that really did happen one time with one of our employees. And
That's
we
awesome.
reviewed the security cameras. And the reason she set the dumpster on fire is she took the ashes from the ashtray of the cigarette smokers and it still had some embers going on in there, dumped it in there. Slowly later, it starts smoking. And then all the firefighters came by. There's always this one female firefighter in my area and it's just like a company-wide thing. We all get real stoked when the fire people come by. Anyways,
not the fire department, the fire people. By the way, not the
fire people.
firefighters, the fire people. Got it.
I said firefighters a couple times already. Just don't want to repeat myself. It's called colorful language, Nick.
Yeah, it's called generalizing an entire group of people. Okay, listen, the fire people. Are we being so for real right now, Jen?
We're being, I love that phrase. It's not that deep, and can we be so for real right now?
Be so for
top 2.
I'm excited though. New little side project kind of going underway. I've been trying to get back in exposure therapy and playing darts sober, getting absolutely destroyed. Okay, so I went 2 and out in 2 different like I went in DRT and EDC. I went 2 and out in those, and then there was one where I got like a 3rd place finish and like got on a good run. And then I played a blind draw the other night. I got 6th place, and I said, can you take a photo? And I'm like, for 6th place at a blind draw, you want a photo? And I was like, how much did I win? They said, your entry fee back for $10. You want a photo? And so I held up the number 6 in my photo. My partner was laughing. He's like, yeah, wait, that is kind of crazy, right? So but as a part of that journey, PPD announced these singles leagues. So I was like, you know, let's get one together, but like let's make it like I say boys only club, as in there's only people I like in the league. So I'm super excited for it. We got like Cheyenne Richards and Nikki Hinshaw up in there. Myself, Will, and Sean are getting in the mix, and a few others. But what's going to be really cool is it's no cap, no handicap. And so with Porky's also in on this. I expect to lose way more than I expect to win as being a bottom half average in that league. But at the same time, like I feel like hopefully it will just give me more used to playing under long form and pressure, as it's like a 15 game format. And then also I hope that I'm not the only one in on this, but I think we're going to make some content out of this. I think we're going to start going, and everyone's going to be posting their matches. I know PPD got really excited about this. So I'm kind of excited about this one, Jen.
Yeah, it's like huge news that's not really news because it hasn't really been like hammered out there. But I'm sure they're gonna just continue to get the word out. But that's so awesome. I think 100% if you've just been a little bit out of the game, doing a singles league without a doubt is like the way to go. I hadn't played for 8 years. I think that was how long my hiatus was, and then I just joined a DPFL remote league, prepared me for Florida, and then got a deep run, took a second place, got to go to Budapest. It's just crazy, like the string of like actions that can kind of snowball into a new darts career for you or a reborn darts career. It's like exposure therapy all the way, especially playing people better than you. I think your exact words, Nick, was like, I can't wait to like get my dick kicked in during this singles league. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
to each their
No,
own,
that's
buddy.
that is literally it. Like a full dick and kicking. That is the expectation. Here's the thing, right? So everyone in there is either a person I like, but mostly also people that are like influencing in the space. The current roster, which we haven't finalized anything yet, so if anybody drops from this, don't get disappointed. But Jasmine Clark, Cheyenne Richards, Nikki Henshaw, Will Sean, myself, Cody Willis from the PPD, and Porky. So it's a mix of like some 5+ averages at the top end, and then you got like Jasmine, who's like, I've been playing only a year and I'm trying to learn, and also I've been making videos on the side. And then you have Sean saying, do I even win 10 legs this season, is his whole premise that he was playing with. And then mine is going to be kind of revisiting. I did that one video of that DPFL match review, and I kind of want to see, like, can I actually do this at a not a weekly cadence, because we're playing it not every single week. Probably we're going to probably double up a lot, but can I do
Yeah.
this on a regular cadence? And the idea is, the other thing is, I just want to make some more content, and this podcast has been great and makes me want to make even more. So this is going to be something that forces me to regularly film at the very least.
A bare minimum, I mean, just ripping your matches and uploading those, doing anything fancy is like super easy, sustainable weekly thing. I recall doing like reflective voiceover and filming for every DPFL league match up to a certain point. So I was able to kind of keep a cadence when I first started, but I totally believe in you, my man. Should be fun to watch. Porky's gonna gobble up though. Like
Yeah,
for the
Porky
list
and
of
Cody
names so far.
Willis are the only two like that are like, they're both at the 5-0 range, so we expect them
Yeah.
to do a lot of damage. But then like it's funny because like I was like, when I was messaging Cheyenne, I was like, you're in the top half of averages, not explaining what I actually meant,
Yeah.
because like she's a 4-1, and that puts her like, I think that the average order hierarchy probably goes and like Porky, Cody, and then like Cheyenne, Will, and then like Nikki Henshaw, then me, then Sean, then Jasmine, probably is how I have to put that order. And so I think the bottom average is like a 2-5 and the top average is a 5-0, right? Like we're going to see some shenanigans here.
Man, I really miss the days where people were super jazzed about rotating leagues within their basements. Like it was just like that in-person community kind of feel, but with access to like people across the nation, it's even cooler. I mean, I remember even being nocturnal and I became real close friends with people in France and Japan because that seemed to be the best like time zones to play against people, just like global matches online, but never like an official league back then. So it's just possibilities are endless. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. That was the other thing I said about the DRT EDC post I did the other day. I was like, it's just cool. You can just go play tournaments. There's a whole culture built around it. I mean, again, I remember, like being into darts in 2016. Being in there for now 10 years as a player, almost 11 years now, and thinking darts was dying. And even when like DRTs first started popping up, at the time RDTs were still a thing, and these other like different like little side tournaments, the culture's definitely not been the same. It's never been this active. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to anyway. So if anybody from work's watching this, you didn't see this part of the podcast, but I think something like in the last 24 months, just on bullshooter boards, and this is across the board for other manufacturers, like remote play is up 600%. It's something ridiculous. It's a ridiculously high percentage, and I assume that's a ubiquitous stat across auto scoring Steel and Gran and Phoenix and maybe even Radical. Apparently they got a new board coming out, so it's really cool to be able to like be a dart player at this time.
It's good for you to point that out as well because we have to remember that there are different metrics in terms of the success of growing the sport. Like, for example, we might even see a decline sometimes in person tournament participation or league play, the traditional like league play, but there are so many different formats and options now with remote style. And overall, just getting more people to play darts more often is the Dart Connect's motto, right? That's it really does take form in kind of what you're saying of even just increasing our bottom pit of novice like garage throwing people is like an insane first step to convert them into hardcore like diehard spectators and tournament players because competition isn't for everyone. Some people really just like to have a hobby and they're just intermediate at it or just kind of novice at it. So I always have to like calm myself down. Like we travel a lot and we see a lot of in-person tournaments, and things just fluctuate year after year. So sometimes it can be scary, but all in all, I think we have to see a pretty big culture shift if we're thinking like 10 years in the future. It's always interesting to kind of look at statistics of young people. They are not drinking alcohol nearly as much anymore. Like we're talking a super drastic shift with Gen Z.
Mhm.
So that
That's
makes
me.
me kind of curious. Yeah, there you go, buddy. That does make me curious coming into bar culture. Like, how are we going to gain their attention if they're not going to discover darts in a bar? So, what I mean, this really kind of touches on like the high school pointed question that we're going to touch on later. What is the solution to put darts into non-drinking spaces in America? It might be a little bit harder, especially with malls closing down and certain types of community spaces that you would rely on as a different venue option. But like Japan, for example, there's these things called like iDart bars, and
Mhm.
yes, the focus still can be on drinking, but there's also spaces in literal malls and arcades that is just 100% dedicated to darts,
Boba
where the
shops.
lines yeah, man, boba shops. That's a really good shout. Someone should steal that idea.
No, that's a
Um,
thing. I have a bunch of friends in Vancouver that used to have like little Darts Live boba bars that would like have Darts Live
oh,
and like
that's
boba.
great.
It was great.
I
Yeah.
always thought boys and girls clubs would be like such a good thing like 10 years ago, just for youth darts. But yeah, I keep looking at like overseas structures and wondering how can we kind of adopt that here. Darts in gyms is like the only thing I can think of is like all you have is this craze of like the gym culture, gym bros. They're not drinking alcohol. Like they still want to do
Y-
competitive things, but maybe not things that are super high risk for injury like athletic sports. So tons of potential
Everybody
there.
Everybody that's watching us right now, if you want to hear the answer to those great questions Jen just asked, you have to watch till the end of the episode because that's going to be our pointed question. Don't worry, Jen, we're getting there. You're so excited for that one. I will say one last thing on this subject though, because you kind of touched on it before continuing on. Do you know what grinds my gears? Even though this is not my actual rant for later, but this
Okay.
is what grinders my gears. I am so annoyed at people that say darts is in decline because in-person tournaments are in decline. Those things don't have to be related. You're right. There is multiple metrics. I've argued time and time again. Bad in-person tournaments are declining. Bad in-person leagues are declining. Bad in-house leagues. Bad local league infrastructure. Like these are the things that are declining right now. The thing is, there's more players than ever. We're seeing more unique people. There's more people engaging in the community and culture. And there's more. There's even more creators. There's more everything in the space. There's younger people getting into the space. Like all the right ingredients are there. Especially if you look at the whole market, but frankly, if I can go and play a couple $1,000 tournament on a random Tuesday night because there's a big carryover, or PPD decides to go and run a giant added money Saturday event because they hit a certain amount of viewers, shout out PPD for that one. When these things like this happen, and these opportunities pop up, well, why would I go play for at a tournament that might still be the run the same way it has been for the last 40 years that is only taking in-person signups? Milo, I agree. You go into these tournaments that are going to run for 3 times as long, have probably a worse ROI potentially because they don't have as high of a payouts. That's the type of stuff that's dying. The local league infrastructure that doesn't qualify you for any national level events doesn't make sense anymore without proper incentives built in. These state tournaments that used to mean everything don't mean nearly as much when you get that itch scratched consistently. I challenge any operator, any vendor, any league coordinator to go to one of the ones that is doing it better than you. You know which ones I'm talking about, and go ask them and go look at their program and see, well, what can I yoink and twist? What can I get inspiration from? Because these different leagues and tournaments, I am telling you, there is ways to make proper programs. And if you don't believe me, Bull Shooter is the easiest one I thought was going to fall first. And here we are. We're still going. Wisconsin showed up, baby.
Oh, I can't wait to see the results of that bet that you had going on and what other crazy thing you'll bet on in the future. But you do love to make predictions, Nick, very boldly.
Almost
and you're
two
usually
tattoos
pretty close.
Right. Almost 2 tattoos worth of being right here, Jen. Hey,
if you guys were wondering, there was 0 perpetrators at my door. All Milo heard was a car door shutting, and that's what scared him.
yeah, well,
yeah,
he's afraid of cars. Okay, you put on Toe Mater or Lightning McQueen, he is shaking in his boots.
My 120-pound dog is afraid of the dark. He'll go outside sometimes if he forgot to potty early enough, and he will just bark into the darkness, completely unprompted.
Get
Poor
out
guy.
there.
Yeah. Get brighter out here. He's also afraid of my hallway, but I think he just has like spatial like anxiety. Like kind of big dogs kind of are that way, especially like Great Danes. They're like really afraid to go under stuff.
I'm a big dog that has spatial anxiety. I get it. I so
Aww.
get it. Well, on that note, Jen, I think it's time. You ready to go to the produce report?
I think we are ready for the produce report.
All right, everybody. It's everyone's favorite section where we talk about what's going on in the dart community and the dart world in general. It's the produce report. And today we have a real good one to start off with. Mike Scarborough let out a banger of a post. Jen, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think it seemingly came out of nowhere. Maybe he was inspired by seeing someone else kind of complaining or having unrealistic expectations of their skill set. But do you want me to just kind of read the post real quick and we can go from there? All right. So Mr. Mike Scarborough, first of all, congratulations on your top, oh my goodness, is it top 8 or top 4 finish at the Darts Live Super Darts qualifier. He bested Paul Lim as well, I think in the top 16 to make it on into top 8. So amazing performance, bucket list achievement for Mike. So cool. So a little credibility for Mike coming into this post that we loved. He said, "Did you ever wonder why I always say, 'Here it comes,' before I go to the line? Because I understand what a miss is. The best soft hit players in the USA average under 6 MPR, 6 marks per round in cricket. That means even the elite miss about 33% of their darts, and most players would love to have that game. A 5.0 is basically a 33% success rate, with the other darts missing close enough to count. The best player in most bars might hit 1 in 3 a lot, but often misses all 3. So if you can't handle a miss, darts might not be the game for you. One bad dart should not ruin your leg. One bad round should not ruin your night. If you just walked to the Aki and whiffed 3 darts according to the law of averages, here it comes. Teach yourself what a miss really is. It is not failure. It is a part of the game. For the best of the best, it is 33% of the game. Missing without unraveling is a skill, maybe the skill, and skills can be practiced." So, translation. Translation, you're simply not good enough to be mad when you miss, right? But you are good enough. You are good enough to remain calm after you miss. I think the real takeaway isn't even really about averages, right? It's just about emotional control disguised.
Yeah, no, you broke up there, but you said something very impactful, I'm sure.
Oh no.
Emotional control. You said emotional control, and then like and then you were looking at me. I was like, "Yep, that she said it." She said that.
I said it's emotional control disguised as math is kind of the premise.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. I will say this, and I've gone on the players so many times. Perfect example. I was at a local blind draw in Florida last time I went to visit for my friend's wedding, right? And there's this guy there named Mac. And Mac's a talented shooter that doesn't realize he's talented, right? And so what happens is he goes up to the board and he goes and he throws. And if he hits a 0 mark to 5 mark, sometimes even a 9 mark, he just is upset. He's upset at his throw. He's like throwing his first dart and his head's shaking already, right? And what's so funny is he's such a like
Hmm.
nice guy outside of this and like positive outside of this. So it's kind of crazy like the disparity in between. But he like went up to me at one point and said, "Yeah, so I've been working on this part of my throw. I used to do this and I try to do this." And I looked at him. I said, "You can do that all you want. It's not going to fix your problem." And he's like, "Well, what does that mean?" And I said, "Well, the problem is you throw your first dart and you miss, or your second dart and you miss, and then you shake your head. And you've never tonight shaken your head and then hit that dart after." I said, I've been paying attention because I did bad. I was already done. I had plenty of time to watch darts. And you're shaking your head every single time. Well, guess what? You're not resetting yourself. You're not trusting yourself. And the amount of times where you do recoup, you're annoyed that you recouped after the miss, not happy that it still happened, right? So I see these star players all the time struggle so much. I will tell them every single time, I don't care if I hit. I just care that it felt good leaving my hand. That is the only thing. If I'm shaking my head, it's because I threw the dart physically wrong or uncomfortably. I'm not shaking my head because I missed. In fact, when I three in the bed at the corner just outside the triple onto the wrong segment, like I hit that trip one sweet spot high on the 18, and I bet it, and it might be detrimental. But guess what? At the same time, it would have felt good leaving my hand, so I'm not going to be upset because here it comes, right? That's what Mike Scarborough said. Here it comes.
I think a lot of the people commenting on that post as well, they're all kind of saying this, yeah, positive thinking, controlling your demons, like understanding probability, your numbers, not getting mad, and staying cerebral. So all really, really good points on how to react. It's really not about the fact that you miss more often than your opponent. It's just like the way that you're reacting to your misses. So um, although he isn't really talking about confidence here, we're focusing on acceptance. So two things I think you need, like, yes, you have to accept the reality that you're going to miss, but then confidence would be another key piece kind of missing from the conversation. But I love his quote. Here it comes. I mean, everyone can have their own mantra. I say totally different things to myself before I approach the line, but the point of the exercise is it's a reset button for your brain, I think. So whatever works for you, reset your mind. You've already accounted for the miss, so you're free to just throw the darts. The old classic darts mentality post. I love it so much. We don't see those too often, especially from players of that caliber. So
Do more, be more.
I love it. Yeah, well, I really like David Fadden because I think I had mentioned this in another podcast. Like, this falls in line with this. He likes to tell people, like, how many times have you walked up to the line, you're opening for a leg of cricket, for example, and you're like, oh my God, what if I miss into the trip 5? What if I miss? What if I miss? And he's like, well, have you ever said to yourself, what if I hit everything I'm aiming at? So the power of positive thinking and kind of the self-actualizing a little bit is certainly something to think about. Competitive darts, at any skill level, just is sometimes less about throwing the darts and almost always about managing your emotional state in competition. So how does one unravel less, Nick? I mean, we can talk, we can point it out and talk the talk, but how do get a hold of yourself when you're feeling those emotions?
Xanax. No,
Beta blockers.
here's a good example of this. To your points, because I can tell you I'm still not the best at this. I definitely used to be a lot better. Only recently getting back into playing, I've realized I started to struggle. Like, it is a skill, and I've lost that skill because I've been maintaining that skill, right? For me, I look at Leonard Gates in the finals of the CSC, right? And after the break, there was 8 legs played. 6 of those 8 legs, he shot a 6 or higher in. 2 of his first 3 legs, he shot under a 4 in the night at the beginning of the match. Do you think he was shaking his head, or do you think that he just said it's going to come back? Because statistically, he still only shot like a 5.6 or 5.7 for the night, which is on season par for him. So that's what's the difference is he had such a statistically bad start to how he's been playing, but still statistically came out the same because of how good he played later on. And you can say what you will about Gates. That man in a final is good at keeping his mentality set right. I've never seen him just throw it away. People sometimes think, oh, he's changing his strategy because he's throwing it away. No, he's changing his strategy because he's Leonard Gates, and he just throws what he's going to throw at, right? And so to your point, like, how do you get better about that? I mean, first off, when you're going up there throwing, visualize the target that you're hitting and the shot that you want to hit, but not the shot that you're going to hit. So I go up there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just trying to visualize this triple 20, visualize it as much as a person with aphantasia can. And then I go there, I throw the darts, and when the turn is over, I think, okay, and this is not all in real time, but this is truly the thought process. When I'm playing and I see my opponent shaking their head and getting all frustrated, I think pounce, make them feel that, like I want to punish that. So therefore, my goal is always to do the opposite. You will naturally start to not care if you start presenting as if you don't. Mask until it's real is kind of my advice on this one.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That really does remind me. So, like, I love everything that Mike has presented. I feel there is just one piece missing. So, for me, if darts mentality was a skill set, right? This is how I would break down the levels of those skill levels. So, a novice player would treat a miss like a mistake. A good player would treat a miss like a minor setback. A great player will treat it like an expected behavior, as Mike is suggesting. But the fourth thing, if I could add one more ultimate skill level that I could ascend to, that I hope to get to, is to not react at all. There's no emotion, no judgment, no analysis, nothing assigned to each of the darts that you're throwing, even if they're good darts. And so that's pure Zen mode that I hope to get to someday. It's really just only a minor like strategy pivot. If you're playing cricket or if you're on a checkout, maybe you have to do some kind of a minor calculation to adjust your throwing mechanics. But again, no analysis. There's no self-comforting, no emotion of any kind assigned to the miss. You're not judging yourself. That's the entire premise of The Inner Game of Tennis, a really famous book about sports mentality, your inner thoughts while you're competing at an extremely high level. So I think you can listen to the audiobook for free on YouTube. I don't think it has the entire book, but it's like some AI voice like reading it, and you can put it on like 2 times speed. But I highly recommend if you haven't heard of that, The Inner Game of Tennis.
I also recommend the Point of Questions podcast. You can also listen to that on YouTube at 2 times speed, by the way. Did you not know that?
Oh, God.
No,
At 2 times speed, us? I think we're a little already
when I edit
fast
it
talking.
I edit it at 5 times speed, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but like I do like set my Premiere timeline playback speed to 500%, and then I just run it. That's how I edit.
Bro, that's crazy.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. We're like Alvin the Chipmunk's worst podcast. It is awesome. No, Mike, hats off to you, sir. I think this post was a home run overall. Like, I could like nitpick and say certain things. Like, there's the line where he says, if you can't handle Mrs. Darts isn't for you, but then mentions that you can work on a skill. I get what you're saying, though. Like, this post is great. I think even the worst of losers, the sorest of people, the people with the most toxic mentalities can also, with the right people around them and the right willingness within them, grow and develop in this game. I truly believe that darts is the game where anybody can be a pro, whether that be mentality wise, dart wise, or demeanor wise. I think that there's so much reality there, and the way that he sums it up really shows this game quite well. And for a man that is known for taking his shirt off even on ESPN, I can tell you for a fact that it was eloquently said from him.
Another man on a sexy weight loss journey, by the way. I mean, I think it was super noticeable when I popped on for the Darts Live commentary. I was like, dang, he's had massive success. And he mentioned a little bit in his tournament recap how it's feeling so good to have a little bit of less weight on his ankles and back, maybe. I can't exactly remember, but hats off to you, Mike. That was awesome. Yeah, somewhere. Now, we try to focus on American news here at the second best queer darts podcast in the globe, but we
Hugh,
have to
we're coming
sneak
for
in a
you.
little Bo Greaves. Yeah, yeah. Hugh Ware, you better be shaking in your boots because we're coming for that number
Yeah,
one
we're
spot.
coming for your Pink Pony
Tops
Club.
and tails. Anyway, we got to sneak in a little Bo Greaves love as she took down Michael Smith to win her first PDC Players Championship title, beat elite player after elite player to get to the
3 world
final.
champions, Jen. 3 world
Woo!
champions.
3 world champions. The impact is huge as Bo continues to reset what possible looks like for women and youngsters out there. Nick, when I met her in Tokyo, she's just like saying she was trying to qualify for super darts, right? Which she eventually went on to never drop a single leg against anyone in that entire qualification, as expected, right? So, okay, I meet her. She's, we're just chit chatting, and I'm just like, like, how are you feeling? She's like, oh yeah, I've never practiced soft tip before, so I hope things. She's like, I hope things go my way. I hope so. I hope, I hope it's good. And I'm like, bitch, it's you. Of course you're gonna be fine. Like, it's not hard for you.
You're Bo freaking Greaves.
You're fucking Bo Greaves. I'm paraphrasing, of course. That is what I said, though. And I don't know, just like a year ago or something, she was in interviews saying, like, yeah, I'm not really looking forward to playing against the men at the Grand Slam. And, most women don't have the consistency to compete at that level. And I'm like, what's that, Bo? Defying your own predictions? You fucking go, girl. It's just, she's the greatest.
I mean, clearly, okay, so I have a controversial opinion tied to my actual opinion here. The actual opinion, first off, incredible, groundbreaking first PDC title on a non-women's event, PDC Pro Tour title. I mean, history being made to do it with the 142 in dramatic fashion with Michael Smith sitting on a double, the way it was done, the run that she went on, the tough bracket that she faced. And the fact is that the stuff that she's been doing, she's a statistical anomaly. She is a nightmare, mathematically speaking. But do you know what I will say? And this is going to be the hot take portion of this. Is
I have no clue what's about to happen.
I know. I am so happy that Bo went out there and proved this, because I'm not going to lie. While there has been some amazing titans in our game, but you look at Lisa Ashton, you look at Dita Hedman, and you look at even our own girl, Paula Murphy, with nothing but love and respect to these ladies when I say this. But the peak of the women's game has always felt like it was an 80 average. And Bo has proven that kid just simply isn't true. That if there is more talent out there, and if we had just as many female dart players as male dart players, I would argue we'd have just as many PDC 2 record holding females as males, right? It's a proportions issue, and clearly the right talent and the right darts got in the right hands. And I just hope it inspires more young women and youth players in general to pick up this game, because the top of the game, while they have paved the way for people like Bo to get to this point, and there should be a level of gratitude there. At the same time, this proves that there was always more to be had. Always.
I mean, I don't take that as a hot take whatsoever. I mean, I think on our side, Stacey Bromberg is the better example of who came closer to kind of like our representation historically. But yeah, Bo so sorry, I'm getting flustered. She's so sexy. Bo will forever challenge. She's sexy, dude. Have you seen her dart game?
No,
She will forever challenge that long-standing narrative that women need separate lanes to succeed at the top level in darts, which honestly puts a lot of pressure on the rest of us, right? So thanks a lot, Bo, you sexy jerk. That's all I have to say about the match.
No, it is incredible. And the level of response and reception was amazing to see everybody kind of rally behind this moment, acknowledge the history behind it. Even some of the more misogynistic people that I'm aware of, even like celebrating this one, I'm like, yeah, we won today. Yeah. We got them.
Yeah.
I say we as a, I'm a man. But, I'm so excited for that. And, I just love that when Bo goes and does stuff like this. And I said the same thing when Fallon went on her Queen of the Palace run as well. when we see moments like this, milestones like this go up and happen, it starts to make it truly less about the gender and more about the game, which is what it is. Because I still saw some disgusting comments about the players' physiques every time a female plays, good or bad. That is just unacceptable. And you know what is funny is that as the results continue to prove themselves, those people get shut down harder and harder and harder, as they should be, because these are professional darts players. They happen to be professional women in the sport, but they're professional darts players at the end of the day. And you wouldn't say the same thing about any of the other guys. And I love for a fact the norms, the breaking of the mold that we're seeing here, the complete redefinition of how we need to approach these open events going forward, and the expectations and what is possible. I go and I talk to a female player and I say, look, if Bo can do it, figure out what they did. Right, I can point and say that can happen. Fallon Sherrick goes and wins multiple rounds of the world championship. Go, that can happen. Right, like I am so here for it, because I truly believe we're in a renaissance of female darts right now.
It's such a bummer, the sample size issue. You talked about proportions of male versus female participation. Like, think about all the problems that exist because of that. So the attention of the hate on like physiques and things, like if you had equal representation of men and women in the sport, there would be so much less of that, because people would be so used to just seeing women playing. So there's extra attention coming up from like the misogynistic kind of crowd, that it's like trendy to kind of like say these things and make fun of these women. And also you've got trolls out there talking about men's bodies too. I mean, think of
Sure,
how
sure,
much
sure.
we talked about last
Look at
episode,
these
Luke Littler
athletes
getting,
and blah blah blah.
he's
Yeah.
constant. Yeah, like you get a ton of that, but you get a lot less of it when there's way more representation. So we can't put all the pressure on Bo to do everything for us and set every record. It would be really cool to kind of see that happen on a global scale in every country. It definitely is going to take like that youth breakout star, but yeah, she's inspirational effortlessly. It's just such a cool week of darts to report on.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I love that our produce section was filled with a bunch of ripe fruit today. You know, nothing
Yeah.
rotten here. This was our good news, everybody section of the produce report, because good job, Bo. Good job, Mike. If there's one thing I can say, is that those stories are of equal importance. That's one
All
thing I
right,
can
Nick,
say.
we are introducing a brand new segment to the podcast. Please explain to the crowd what Fruity Fits is.
Welcome to Fruity Fits. As you can see, we're already ready. Fruity Fits here is going to be a brand new section of our show where we go and we take blind rankings of 5 different fits. So I'm going to present Jen 5 different dart player fits that happened, real photos, real players. And Jen is going to have to blindly rank each one as they come up on the 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. We're going to see who has the better rankings, give our opinions on some dart player fits today. And the stakes is maybe I get to pick Jen's outfit at India Team Dart. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right, Nick, who's going up first?
I want you to go ahead and start off with your list first here, Jen.
Okay, are we ready for number 1?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Picture number 1. It's Mike Scarborough cosplaying as Devin Hunter. What do you
Wow,
rate this darts fit?
that is a choice right there. I gotta be honest, that mean mug is doing wonders for me. I gotta say, like, I get the fit aside, the scowl is there. The sequin style like jacket is insane. I'll be honest, the hairdo does do the fit well, but let's be honest, you're not throwing in that jacket. So I'm gonna actually put this one. If I had to put a ranking on this one, I'm gonna put this one at 4.
Ooh, okay. Here is our second image.
Oh, okay. So we got the Tutu girls, the Pink Ladies events over at India Team Dart. Do love the Pink Ladies events. I do love any teams that match together, stay together. Solid outfit range here. Solid 3 on the scale for me.
Okay, next up.
Ooh, a mean mug Garrett. How'd you get him to be such a bad boy for this photo? What did you
Doesn't he look
do?
sexy as hell? Like
Oh my
he's pushing
God.
his little like darts towel. He's famous for having so much shit hanging off of his pants. I don't know how, and he throws with it on there. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
clip it off of the hip, so it's all there.
Toilet
Like I know
paper,
this is
towels, dart
yeah.
tips.
I know this is kind of out there for a dart selection, but I had to throw in my boy Garrett Rakowski.
No, that's fair. I always love his like cross hanging up over top as like a little accessory. The glasses, they just this little adjustment on sometimes before he throws is one of my favorite mannerisms. Big fan of this. I think that it looks classy. It looks clean. It looks professional, even with all the accessories. So this is tough to beat. I'm gonna put it at number 2 though. I think you got something crazy saved up. I got 1 and 5 left, so this is terrifying, by the way.
Okay. All right, next up. You're reading the banana, by the way.
I'm reading the banana.
You're reading the banana,
oh
not yourself.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that is a throwback photo of me, purple hair, NDA team dart once again. The girls photo bombing in the background. I gotta be honest, it's fruity fits. That's a fruit. That's a fit. That's number 1 for me. Easy clap.
Wow. I think you're gonna eat your words because here comes the last photo.
Whoa! Will Stewart, Jen Mounts, USA Darts fits at the which one is this?
This is the US. No, this is the
World Cup?
Blackpool match play.
Blackpool. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you here. Okay. I mean, it has to go 5. I do regret putting this one so low, but then again, like, okay, are you guys really beating a banana? That banana guy, his energy matched his fit to a T, so it's really hard to rate that one differently. Garrett was the classiest looking. You picked some fun ones here. I'm curious to see how this one will rate. Plus, Will Stewart, instantly a 5. Instant 5.
Yeah, I did weigh myself. I should have cropped him out to be just me. That's my
just
bad.
You. No, it's great stuff there. Good fits. I love it. All right. Can you see mine okay? Are you ready?
I sure can. I'm ready.
All right. Starting with our first fit.
Ooh.
Mike Porterfield.
The classic backwards hat. Shoes match the jerseys.
And the flights. You can't see it in the picture. It does match the flights too.
Now, matchy-matchy's cute and everything, but I'm sorry. I'm going to start a little conservative. I'm going to put you down in 5, but I mean no offense because this is a blind rating here.
You're putting Porterfield at 5?
Not enough pop of color. Just a little too American for my taste. It's just my personal opinion here. Sorry, man.
I thought he was easy 1 or 2. Wow. All right. Fine. Mike Porterfield hater number 1. Jen Mounts. Here we go.
Oh, wow. The story behind it is this freaking pink is it a cowboy hat? Like, the pink cowboy hat with the bedazzled jewels around the front, glasses, mustache. Because this wasn't an intentional thing worn to throw in a tournament per se, it was really just to create some outtakes. I'm going to pop you down to 4. Because it was just like not an intentional choice coming into a scene.
This is retribution because I put you and Will at 5. That's what this is right now, by the way.
I can do. I have the power right now.
All right. Up next, the Drip King.
The Drip King. I fully expected a John Edwards photo, but that's fine. We can do Brandon Neal. This guy, self-proclaimed Drip King, even though he says his kids gave him the name, but I think he's a little too excited to share it. I feel like you've snuck in some like crazy ones. I'm going to put him at 2.
Okay. So you have 1 and 3 left. So you have the best
1
and
and 3
the
left.
mid one. All right. Coming up next, I have a trios photo here of my dad, my best friend Jasmine, and her dad Marcus playing trios here, and my dad giving a face on that one.
He is wearing an A to Z darts jersey, which you would think would butter me up, but he's got better ones from us. So I'm gonna go an instant number 3 for the trio because they're not matching.
Wow. All right. Look at that. Here we go. Last one. This is your number 1 fit, by the way. You saved number 1.
You saved your number 5. I saved my number 1. Let's go.
All right. Here.
Yeah! Look at that cutie. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. That's like a Batman backwards hat. OG UTG jersey. plain ass black pants, black shoes,
Your
my
little
little
briefcase.
briefcase. First of all, that little darts, what I used as a darts case, it's meant for people with diabetes. You're supposed to keep your insulin in there and like your medical
Did
supplies.
you like take it
At
from someone with
Walmart.
diabetes? Did you rob somebody?
No. No, I bought it at
No.
Walmart. I thought it'd be a cute darts case because again, this was 10 years ago and there weren't as many products, darts products out there. Wow. See, I knew I'd be good at this.
I knew I'd be good at this is crazy. Well, that's the first fruity fits. It's a little bit of a rapid fire one. I gotta be honest.
Whew.
You got me with some sneaky ones there. I think my only regret is not putting Garrett number one. I mean, the banana fit was great energy. Garrett was the best dress, and Porterfield at 5 is actually crazy. He is notoriously matching. He is always wearing pants. He is looking good. He is looking sharp, and you're over here just like. Pfft.
I'm sorry, Nick. It's not like you threw me a Stowe Bunce or like a Mike Scarborough.
Do you
Like
think
he had like 7 for me to choose
or
from.
Mike Scarborough with this behavior? Do you think this is the behavior of someone that deserves the Neon Nightmare or the Magic Mike?
I took this so seriously. I was penciling in my answers to make sure I knew what I was doing. Like, come on, man, give me a break. It's my first darts strip quiz.
Well, that's fruity fits. If we roasted you, well, you're welcome. I will say we were oddly nice, so I think most people will be okay with that one.
Yeah.
Jen, I gotta ask, what's grinding your gears?
Well, first of all, folks, grinder my gears is just a play on words because we're a fruity podcast. We're not only talking about things that make us upset about the app Grinder. Other than that, I wish more people used it. Like I'm just kidding, Nick. I'm not a gay man, but thought you'd be all over that. Anyways,
I just like to watch you dig a hole when I know your wife's in the other room. I just like to watch it happen sometimes, and I won't save you.
So the whole concept is we just pick a topic that like we're capable of ranting about for 5 minutes or so. Well, probably not that long, but and the premise is the other one's gonna validate their feelings or tell them it's not a valid take. Is that kind of the game plan here?
Yeah, you just pop off, sis. I'll let you know what I think about it at the end.
Now, here's the thing. Do I stay in control of my emotions? Do I visibly get upset? Does passion
let it out?
Let it all out.
Yeah,
okay.
Like you're Milo at the glass buffet right now.
Oh,
rip it.
Num 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 num. So my darts rant of the day involves the fact that the meanest comments out there tend to be left by the most ignorant people. I'll repeat. The meanest comments that we get on our social media are often said by very ignorant people. And I'm kind of at my wit's end, folks, on spreading hate and ignorance. So, especially on a small niche darts channel like USA Darts, A to Z Darts. The problem is, before I was able to screenshot the comment, Will deleted it like a normal person would. He read that and he was like, this is trash. And just deleted it and moved on with his life. And I was like, no, I was going to spiral about that. So I'm going to have to paraphrase kind of like what happened. But essentially, an older gentleman commented that he was really upset we started like collaborating with the bull hitters and we put out a couple of fun, really viral food reviews. And he particularly commented on the video where the bull hitters had a blank US map, and whatever state it lands in, they have to guess what the state is. So not to be accurate, you have to know your US geography, which I thought was a cute, fun interview. Not hurting anyone, right? Boy, was I wrong. I got a rant from this dude this long, going on and on about how like disgusting it is and how we're chasing millennial clout. And he's just like, stick to streaming. You're a dart streaming channel. He's like, nobody cares what the bullhitters think about barbecue. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. First of all, the largest demographic of people playing darts in America are Gen Xers, sir. It's not millennials.
That's for sure.
I assume he's an older man because he used the term chasing clout. Like, I don't even say that.
That's a banger
but
term.
anyway, Jesus. So his dumb comment about chasing clout is like genuinely ridiculous because you don't grow a niche sport by only making content that a small ass group of people are already enjoying. I've been marketing for 10 years and I've done really nothing but try to learn how to scale a small niche community looks like. My livelihood depends on it. It's how I can afford Milo's medication in this house and my car. And I get comments like this all the time from people who genuinely don't understand social media, monetization, how we make money, or the industry as a whole. And so it's really sad, and like it's no one's business to know this, but I'm going to say it to make a point. So the entire brand of USA Darts, every single time we sign a contract with someone, we're actually losing money. We lose money. Our overhead is so large to be able to stream these broadcasts. And guess what? That entertainment is free to you guys on Facebook and YouTube. We don't charge pay-per-view. We don't have, a ridiculous amount of corporate ads that are like built in during a match or anything like structured that way. It's just during a break. We'll play some things here and there. We have small sponsorships. Like that's really nothing. So the only reason we can sustain our entire company is based off of the hope that we can make a little bit of money off monetization of the back half of like clipped content that comes out. So not only do we have to pay people a living wage to come in, do a highly specialized skill to broadcast the event, paying for extra commentary, paying for marketing and promotion ahead of time, a webmaster, paying for a video editor to actually deal with the content after the fact, social media people, photographers, everything that goes into a business. We're losing money going into the red to sustain a company that we hope is going to grow the sport of darts. And the only reason we can do that is because it's financially backed by A to Z Darts. And the whole idea is just like what Darts Connect, I love their motto. We need to get more people to play more darts more often. It really is that simple. And one of the ways you can do it is an approach of putting out entertaining streaming content of the best competition going on in America, putting it out there for free and hoping people become interested. And maybe someday they'll convert into a customer and a league player, a tournament player, and buy supplies through A to Z. And so this guy's freaking out that we made like 4 videos of broadening our category into food, into entertainment, fun, like I don't even know what you would categorize that, Nick, but it's like fun, challenge type quizzes with darts, like collaborating with one of the biggest YouTubers overseas. We're bringing our two worlds together. We know through analytics that we've grown each of our audiences. They have an entire American crowd that loves them now. I'm not saying entirely because of us, but certainly partially because of us, all because of us. And we have grown our global audience who are, guess what? Legitimizing American talent now. How often do people say Americans are trash at darts? How often do people not think soft tip is a legitimate sport or anything relevant within the world? Like we are single-handedly, I think, a lot of times trying to dispel this ignorance, trying to educate people and expose them to this world. And what's so crazy, it's not like those videos flopped and it was a bad move that our core audience hated. So clearly were these videos loved. The first video we made has 2 million views. It just hit that. That video on its own has single-handedly helped us be able to afford to pay our people, to be able to continue taking these gigs, signing these contracts with darts organizations that can barely afford the stream. So we keep the price insanely low to be able to, again, give you guys free content and bring attention and relevance to their darts tournament, hoping to increase the participation the next year because people on the stream at that tournament. It's just in so many ways and so many different avenues, like just so stupid. Like out of those 2 million people that watched that food video, none of them were our existing crowd, right? So this went viral because it hit the YouTube algorithm and reached an entire new audience of people that had never thought about darts as a serious thing. We know from YouTube analytics and Google analytics, marrying those two behaviors, we have a GA4 expert that works with us. We know hundreds of thousands of people from that 2 million went on to continue to watch existing darts specific content of ours. So they went on to watch matches. They converted to the website even to like look at products. It proves through user behavior, they suddenly in an instant became interested in our sport. Out of those 2 million, over 5,000 of those people became uber super fans. They binged watched entire playlists. They subscribed. They did every possible thing. They went and read multiple blogs, Darts 101 content that we have out there, and actually went so far as to purchase supplies and in an instant became darts playing people and spectators. So the power of broadening your net and reaching this huge group of people is nothing but good for the sport and nothing to do with caring about chasing millennial clout. I'm not fucking clavicular telling people to pick up a goddamn hammer and smash my fucking chin and bone smash myself to become more attractive. Like, what the fuck do you think a small darts channel is trying to do by collaborating with English darts players? And if you don't know who clavicular is, by the way, I'm so jealous. Can we trade live? Because I've unfortunately been targeted by those videos from the manosphere for some reason. I don't know why, but I've learned so much about fucking clavicular. Motherfucker ODing on fucking drugs and just like, he's not gonna live long, folks. He's not gonna live long. He's an autistic guy whose special interest is being good looking and trying to convince young people to bone smash. I can just don't understand. And so I got really off the tracks here. Let's re-enter the station, guys. So my point's all it's just, can we just chill? Can we chill? Like, can you leave us alone? If you don't like the videos, can you not watch them? Can you not take time to write 2 paragraphs worth of like soul crushing information that nobody agrees with? I'm sure that really bothered Will. I haven't even talked to him about this, but the fact that he managed the comments and like has read that at some point and deleted it, I feel bad for him. That's a man that has poured his life and soul into broadcasting, doing 16-hour days during shows for 5, 7, 9 days in a row. He spent over 100 days in a hotel room one year. He's probably broken that record like recently. Nick, you know all about that life. If anything, your life's even crazier of the amount of time you spend away from home. Like, you fucking assholes, stop saying shit to my people about the clear positive marketing choices that we're making and the funnel that we have set to capture non-darts people and bring them into our damn sport. Leave us alone. We know what we're doing and we're not chasing clout. That's my rant.
That's what's grinding your gears, Jen?
That's what's grinding my fucking gears so bad right now. This comment that doesn't even exist anymore.
Let me tell you, people get so pressed for no reason about stuff. I so valid, so valid. Clavicular kind of catching a stray halfway through. Don't worry, he's damaging himself, Jen. You don't need to hit him while he's down. No,
right.
No.
It was so low hanging fruit. I'm sorry.
Low hanging fruit was the other name of this podcast. Absolutely insane what people will say, because you're right. I mean, you go and look at like an ESPN lineup, right? And you go, do you think that they're only showing matches, or do you think that there's shows in between? Do you think their shows don't have segments where I've seen Mike Tyson go on a random sports show and then throw a dart at a dartboard? I've seen that clip because he hit a bullseye blindfolded. Like I've seen stuff like that. I've seen these different spinoffs. I've seen them go crazy. I've seen, Stephen A. Smith go on a rant about cars and Tow Mater on they literally, there's these different kinds of content, not to mention the social media platforms where you'll see the wildest stuff shared on like the ESPN account that has nothing to do with sports anymore. It's like going to a football game and getting mad there's a halftime show. Like, what the heck do you mean? They're going to go around and then they're going to try to hit this really long putt and they're going to try to throw things into. That's not what I came here for. Like, no, that's just why you stayed. Okay. The whole point is that there's this thing called core, casual, and new, right? A lot of our content of match clips is for core audience members that are going to hang out and watch our stuff no matter what we post. Casual is people interested in the general subject, but maybe aren't aware of us or don't actively engage with us, and new is people outside this realm altogether. Sometimes you got to do something for the new people. Sometimes you do something that's more for the casuals, and sometimes you do something for the core audience. A pro player interview is for core audience members. A food review with British people that happen to play darts is for new people, and casual is somewhere in between when you're seeing us do like these dart challenges against each other, right? Like that's the type of mentality. And Jen loves it when I say this. It's not that deep, okay? You don't have to watch videos you don't want. And I think that and you can tell it's usually the older commenters that say this. You don't need to say your opinion. You just don't. I got on a little bit of a rant last night because people were telling me who they were cheering against, not who they were cheering for. And I said, I don't care. Like, you can stop. If you don't want to cheer for Leonard Gates, that's your prerogative, but that doesn't mean you have to cheer against him. That's just toxic. Same idea. Like, I want to cheer against this content, I'm just going to not engage with this content, or only positively engage with the content I do like. Frankly, you're right, Jen. It's free. Just go click, watch it. It really is that simple.
Appreciate you, man. I feel validated. I didn't expect you to side or anyone to side with this, but it's just one of those things. Like,
what did you think I was gonna do?
No. I just mean, like, it feels icky even to have to defend it. You know, it's one of those, like, yeah, the obvious answer was for Will to just like click delete, but sometimes I just like lose it over someone who puts so much effort into being insanely toxic and lame. Like, it's I feel so bad for, like, what is going on in this guy's life, you know? Like, and we just see it. It's not just on rare occasion. We see this all the time. People, their whole personalities being incredibly negative and tearing people down, intentionally wanting to hurt people, intentionally wanting to complain. Like, this is a dude that is very obviously probably not a legitimate fan of ours to begin with. He doesn't want to actually just see us only live stream. So he just wants to say something mean. And oftentimes those mean comments are ignorant, as I said in my opener.
It's also so funny because, like, if the content wasn't doing well and working, we wouldn't be doing it. Do you know what we don't have a whole series of is mini golf? That didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we bombed and we said, okay, I guess we're done with mini golf for a while. Got it. You know.
However, sometimes content is quality, and there's an issue of packaging. Like, maybe title, thumbnail could have been better, even though those were my decisions and my designs. It could have just been that. Or the intro.
You did an
wasn't
awful
good
job
enough,
putting
like,
it together. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Alrighty, Nick. Thank you for validating my feelings. I would love for you to pop off and let me know what has been grinding your gears lately.
Let me tell you what's been grinding my gears, all right? If I read one more goddamn comment about how the commentators need to stick to commentating the match, I am going to lose my mind. Let me tell you what I mean by this, because sometimes we get a little off track, and sometimes we really should be focusing on the match and we get lost in it. I'm not saying that this claim is always invalid, but I do think most of the times that people say something like this are the most invalid times to say it. Because what people have the expectation for in broadcasting versus what is actually what we're doing are two different things. While we try to represent ourselves as a broadcast, and we do far above what I would consider a streaming quality is. I know because I've watched other dart streams, and I can call them streams because a lot of them just aren't broadcast. I have a lot of love for the other people in the space. I think there's more people that need to be in the space as creators and as broadcast companies and everything else. But we really do try hard to be more of a broadcast than a live stream, actively, right? We go and try to keep things as engaging, keep the entertainment as high as possible. We stream for longer hours. We try to make sure there's a schedule that makes sense, that you guys are getting the best timings possible. But when you go and you watch a sports broadcast, right? You go watch a football game, and the game length is what, 2.5 hours, an hour of which is breaks and times where commentators aren't the ones talking. So you have an hour and a half, and they had at least 48 hours to prepare, if not multiple weeks to prepare for that specific event, depending on what we're talking about here. You go and you watch any sporting game, and that's exactly what it is. You also aren't even fully factoring that, okay, these guys are commentating for limited time. Well, we're commentating for 8 hours and has to be entertaining. We don't know what's coming up next. We don't know what players even signed up for the event or the room most of the time. And guess what? When we do, we acknowledge it and we focus on commentating about that. Also, you say that like these comments come in and you're watching a football game, well, you can hear the crowd, you can hear the audience, you can hear the players because there's mics on the field, you can hear these things. A lot of times we don't have the audio set up because of either issues with the event hall setup or in general just how dark culture is. We don't have that ambient noise like you have even in the PDC, where there is ambient noise, there is a referee, there's these other things. So what happens is we have two options. One, we talk at the same cadence that you have a traditional commentary, which is a lot slower, and there's no other noise that fill it. So it comes off, guess what? Boring. I've checked the retention numbers time and time again. Or we keep talking, but eventually we start running out of stuff to talk about. And frankly, when it's your friend playing and they're averaging a 2.5 and they're about to lose in the 8th place match that was never going to get clipped out, and frankly, they're only people that are watching it are your friends at this point, there's only so much we can say, especially if they've been on the stream multiple times. We try to make sure to give love and attention because the players deserve it. But what you can't expect is this hyper analytical, super deep dive commentary, because guess what? You're going to start commenting, these guys are so repetitive, because there's only so much we can say about that. That is just unrealistic expectations for these long-standing live streams. Now, guess what? When you go back and listen to the ESPN Bullshooter broadcast, either from this last year where I was on it or the years prior with DJ and Gordon, it was only about the match. There was no extra fluff. The extra fluff was just explaining darts to non-darts players, right? That's what you can expect when it's a segment cut out specifically for this. You know, the CSC Challenger Series has the least amount of ambient noise. There is not even board noises there. And frankly, that show was built upon the culture of chat interaction. That's what makes that show so different than every other show. So when you guys say that you guys want us to stay focused on the match, that is not even true, because when that happens, the numbers go down. What you do want is the correct time to have these tangents, and that I agree with wholeheartedly. There is no reason in a last leg decider that we're talking about anything other than what's happening and the storyline that got us to this point of what was happening. Agreed wholeheartedly. It's a seat match towards the end, very important. But when it is the second round of the day, there is no reason that we can't talk about why squirt soda is so overrated and Will's absolutely wrong. You know, when we're doing the CSC Challenger Series and there is 17 legs across a 2-hour period, there is no reason that you can't take a leg off. If something crazy starts happening, stop the tangent, start talking about what's happening. But the fact is, we don't have the ads, we don't have the cutaways, we don't have the extra noise, and we're doing a broadcast that is between 5 to 10 times as long as the traditional broadcast commentary that you're comparing us to, that have budgets 10x to 100x the size of our budget. And frankly, these people's one job is to do this, not to also go out and grab this extra content, not to go over there and make your filthy travel barbecue videos on the side, not to do any of these extra things. No, our job is to run the entire production, to go grab everything else, to be able to try to mitigate. We're also probably trying to help organize the tournament. We're trying to diagnose tech issues as we're a smaller traveling budget band of heroes over here. I mean, we are just trying our best. And I'm not saying that, and especially if you're watching this podcast, you're probably one of the ones that's like, no, we love you guys. I don't do that either. I don't, thank you. I know I'm awesome. That's why I keep doing what I do. I know the people I work with are awesome. That's why I keep working with the people I work with. But what I'm saying is, for the handful of people that when you see these comments of why aren't they doing this, 9 times out of 10, it's because that person didn't actually want us to be talking in the first place. And the 1 time out of 10, well, we probably should have been talking about the match.
That was wonderful. That makes a lot of sense. And I think the only thing missing is your 100% leaning into your core audience of people love the personality marketing, and there's really only just like a subset group of people that get annoyed by it or distracted by it. So I don't even think it's really a dislike deep down. I think they only have so much of an attention span. And the weird thing is, why wouldn't they just press the mute button? Because if they like, there's really, like, no offense to any of us who commentate, but there's nothing groundbreaking about our analysis of like 90% of the time. Like, sure, there are amazing moments of like, wow, like that person just saw right through that player. They could read their body language. They can anticipate their every move, but that's just not the majority of the time. Darts isn't that crazy of something to pull stats out of and have some kind of an analysis from.
you're also talking about trying to humanize and legitimize and platform players that aren't at that level. Like when it's the elite
Yeah.
matches and it's the good stuff happening, good stuff's easy to talk about. It is so easy
Yeah.
when you're at the LVO and watching the finals and even the last rounds leading up to it. It is so easy watching the finals of the CSC Challenger Series. It is so easy to be able to stay focused and talk about amazing things when amazing things are happening because they speak for themselves. The fact is, you're right. You have the mute button. You can use the mute button, or you can understand what it is. You can understand that as free content, or you can take it a step further and just realize that you're on a floating rock in space, and most people don't care about your opinion. I'm not saying I don't care about opinions in general, but 9 times out of 10, that comment that when I see them are oftentimes invalid.
What's so hilarious about that, we recently got a private message that got sent through like the official customer service system. And the only point I'm going to make is that this person is writing about their very unpopular opinion as a complaint, right? And I know it's unpopular because the guy himself even writes, like, towards the end, he's like, I've tried to complain in the chat and everyone just mocks me. And I'm like, is that not your answer, that nobody agrees with you? Everyone else in the chat is mocking you for your opinion on the matter? Is that not like that? What other kind of hand holding do I need to do to get you to understand that we cannot take you seriously? I mean, you are very clearly overreacting to something that you're misunderstanding, because every other human being around you like understands the situation, is gaining a different take. So it's like beyond Karening.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's a
just
verb.
like you're delusional. Um, absolute, like, true. We respect and love everyone that chooses to be a spectator of us, for the exception of a few bad apples that really just ruin the vibe and like the chat community, like for everyone else. Um, we get tons of great constructive criticism live. Sometimes there's technical things that we can't even catch, or
Yeah.
like little mistakes and things that happen. And if you're one of those people that's ever like popped in a comment like, oh, something sounds like a little off with the audio, or like,
Thank
like,
you.
you're being considerate about it, thank you, dude. Yeah,
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, I mean, there's so many things that happen during a live show. It is insane. But yeah, Nick, I do feel for you guys. Of course, I don't get these kind of comments when I'm doing commentary. But for you guys, it
It happens all the
is
time for us
gotta
for
be
some reason.
annoying. Has to
No,
be annoying,
they
yeah.
just keep wanting where's the girl at? I know, I get it. I so get it, Jen.
Where's
To
the
end it
girl at?
on a positive note, though, because as much as I do love coming out here, because I just like to say my opinions and give them straight up, I will say, in general, though, I legitimately, if you're curious, the true thing is when it's 10 hours and you've been on the road for your 99th day of the year. Again, you mentioned it earlier, but I mean, I think I'm closer to 150 this year. I'm getting close to 150 days on
Oh
the
my
road this
god.
year. Will and Sean and these guys have kids at home. I have a dartboard. But like when we're traveling, we're also usually at our wits' end. You're not getting the best of sleep at these events, and you're immediately starting your day. You're maybe not even eating half the time. There's all these different factors, and you know what we're trying to do. And when I read that comment, that upsets me. Is we're just trying to have fun. That is really it. That is as simple as it gets. We're just trying to have fun, because if we're having fun, you guys are, and if we're not, you're not. You know why? You listen back to the Booyah Cup Friday, Saturday. I was having, and no one knows this outside of my circle, I was having terrible anxiety attacks all of Friday, all of Saturday, unrelated to what was happening at the Booyah Cup. I was having anxiety attacks. And guess what? You can hear some of the most uninspired commentary in my career. I was not having fun, and it was heard. Guess what? Well, Sunday, I woke up on the right side of the bed, felt a little bit better, had a good talk with a close friend, and now all of a sudden, I'm in there, and I'm laughing, and I'm joking, and I'm going and having all this energy. And then you see that one comment, stick to the match. You know what? Why don't you stick to the mute button and get the fuck out of here? How about that?
Nick, it's not even that you guys are trying to have fun. You're trying to be fun people for the ones spectating you. So it's like, what's so sad is they're attacking the very core of your effort to entertain them. And I can understand. Again, I don't have personal experience. I can't
Shut
empathize, but I can
up. Shut
sympathize
up.
with you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I think, oh my God, Will and I got brutally critiqued during the very first thing we ever did, the WDF Virtual Cup. back during COVID times, like people were not happy. Like they just are not used to the pace that Americans like talk, and we're like a little goofier. We were doing like a lot of analysis. So only overseas hate, of course, like during that. But I think they were just like, imagine, like a PDC for then. They want like that kind of quiet golf commentary. Like they wanted that energy, and we took a step back after like getting enough of that feedback and pivoted from there. But gosh, I mean, things crazy since then of like how much of a you guys get to be. You know what? I will say, not that I support people with these comments, but I think the only thing, if it like we talk about our core audience and if new people came into the picture as a one constructive feedback I would give to you guys is like as a new person, they probably don't understand the three of you, Nick, Will, Sean. They probably don't understand you like are friends and have known each other for a long time and have this long history. And sometimes you guys can get a little brutal with the roasting of each other, like live on air. So
Oh
I
yeah.
would think that might only that could dial back a bit or at least give like a little more context of like
Yeah.
doing it in front of each other, but like not mentioning someone when they're not on the stream. Like during our podcast is different. Like I know we try to bring Will into into it as much as we
Mm-hmm.
can. But that would be my own legitimate
No,
answer of like
that's
future
fair.
proofing.
Well, it's also, I mean, you have to look at the differences, right? You go and watch the CSC, there's 10 seasons of inside jokes that you're tuning into. That is different, right?
Yes.
When you're watching the Booyah Cup,
Yes.
you're right. There shouldn't be too much of that. It has to be dialed back an extra notch or two, because if you make it too inside baseball, well, then no one's going to be able to get into it. You're losing the sight of it, and I think that's also why it's so important of when you're tuning into the match. When it is,
Hmm.
take a little context there. If it's a final and that's happening, yeah, probably we should be like looking back. And I can tell you, as an editor, I watch back more of my matches than the average commentator does. Will does as well. I always give Sean a hard time because he doesn't edit videos very often. I'm just like, Sean, you should listen to this back, man. And I will say, where we go wrong is we should never acknowledge those comments out loud when we're live. I've been a big believer of that. Now, sometimes, occasionally, I like to twist it, like turn it right back in like a, thanks for tuning in for the first time kind of moment, or something along those lines. But I will say that's where I draw the line for us, right? We should not be throwing it back because we should be playing to a higher level. And to be fair, if they're right, then they're right, and sometimes they are right. So I try not to lose sleep over it. I just wish there was one day in my career where I was as good as Jen, where I was like, I can't relate.
I think it's the complete utter lack of commentary I've done. You guys have just put in hundreds of hours of it,
Thousands.
like I've done thousands of hours. Geez, you're probably right. Holy moly. Anyway, yeah, it's just a numbers game. You've done it for so long. You've sat through too many really bad matches. And no offense to any players, just bringing up the
Except for
reality
you.
of
The
when
you right now, we're talking about you. Your match sucked.
My favorite of yours is like if I'm listing 3 names to make a point and you're like, and everyone else that she didn't list, she hates you. Like, I
You know,
genuinely panic. I panic when you do that.
every time. Can we get this person on stream? If we didn't put your favorite person on stream, it's because we hate you.
All right, Nick, I think it's about time for the pointed question of the day. Are you ready?
So ready.
Okay. We actually had a fan enter in a couple of questions as suggestions. Normally we just come up with them ourselves. But last episode, Vaughn Pinkins asks, should darts be a sport in high schools? And what was great is a couple of people watching live responded immediately. So notably Alex Spellman, for example, I think he immediately wrote back, you have to clean up the image of the sport before you can make any attempt to get youth players more involved. I would never invite your average family out to play darts in the current culture. So he's creating a prerequisite that darts in high school would then have to be a feeder into a league and tournament, which is an interesting thought process, but not necessarily has to be a reality. And then I think the other major point from Meredith McGee in favor of the question is absolutely. I learned more about simple math when I started in college than in all of my years of schooling. It doesn't mean people have to go out and try leagues or tournaments at that age, but it's an inexpensive way to teach math, hand eye coordination, physics, teamwork, self discipline, sportsmanship, mental skills, performance under pressure, and more all in one. Boards could be set up, and different teachers could show how their disciplines can be applied. It's something that anyone can participate in: short, tall, fat, skinny, ambulatory, wheelchair users, blind, hearing impaired, non athletic, sports leaders, nerds, cool kids, and everyone in between.
I'm
So,
like 5 of
Nick,
those.
I have a couple questions for you. Yeah, like all of the above, cool and a nerd. That's how I would describe you.
Oh, thanks. I
100%.
think I get a
Um,
little briefcase, your little diabetes dart case. You're pretty cool too.
so, three questions for you, actually, Nick. So, A, how do you feel about Alex's kind of like marrying the idea of like, okay, if you're going to take time to introduce youth people into the sport, like, but what about what happens when you try to feed them into the current culture of darts? Uh, and then how do you feel like in favor, against it for high school, even middle school? I'd love to tap into that avenue because that exists in the nation. And then finally, if we are going to push darts into a high school, are we picking soft tip or are we picking steel tip or both?
Interesting stuff here. Well, first off, shout out Dart Vader Vaughn, my old roommate, by the way, if you didn't know that. I don't know if you knew that fun fact there. Shout out Vader. Appreciate it. Listen, I will say to Alex's point, right? He's kind of like picturing the NCAA into NFL into NBA like type of pipeline, right? The collegiate into there. So therefore adding a high school level and kind of going through there. Cause let's be honest, a lot of our players on average probably don't go to college. I know you guys. I didn't. So I don't think the ideas have to, I think it's not, it's always going to be chicken and the egg. You're going to have the issue of, okay, do I have to clean up the scene first, or does this force the scene to get cleaned up? There is going to be both, and you can't wait for it to be 100% one way or the other. No matter what, this will have to happen in tandem to some degree. Now, can we clean up a little bit more first? Sure. But also, I would argue we don't have as many alcohol or cigarette sponsors here anymore. And currently in the States, there's not really any gambling sponsorships like there is in the EU. So now's a good time as any to actually reconsider that notion, with especially with grand board culture being and soft tip culture in general, steel tip becoming influencer based. I see these young kids posting their bull hitters darts, and I'm over here like stealing one off the A to Z shelf, so I'm depriving a child. That's what I thought when I got my bull hitters darts that are sitting like right back there behind that curtain. You can kind of see it right over there.
Yeah.
I was like, there's some small child that was so hype on Discord to talk about this, and I stole it from them. So I think now is as good of a time as any. I don't think that there's a waiting to clean up. I think that there should be an active effort to continue to clean up, right? We have to establish the safe space for youth darts, and we have to, I am so tired of one of the most tragic truths and the dark truths of darts. How many youth players immediately got into heavy drinking or drugs very shortly after turning 18 or 21? I've seen some of the most amazing people just throw it all away, let alone the people that enable and sneak stuff to people under the age, right? I can tell you for a fact, I never snuck drinks behind the table when I was a youth player. I was always responsible about that one. I pride myself on that fact. I didn't start drinking at tournaments until I was of age. That being said, I don't think you have to marry the ideas. You don't have to have it be a direct feeder system. I think you build a separate system first, and then add a bridge. It's easier to add a bridge between two things. Just like how I say in general, and this is true for the growth of darts. You know, there's no reason that one day there isn't a tournament that ties together the winner of the EDC Nasty Tour with the winner of the CSI from PPD with the winner of the Bullshooter Invitational. There's no reason a system can't be, a bridge can be put together, rather than saying, okay, we need to rebuild this entire infrastructure. No, if a true sanctioning body, no offense NDA, but if a true sanctioning body came in and said, this is what we're going to do, they wouldn't say everybody has to restart. They would say, adapt what you currently have to fit in. That's why you build the youth infrastructure first. So that's what I'm going to say to Alex Fowen's point before I go on to the next one. Am I off base, on base? Where are you feeling?
I agree. I think that you don't have to marry the two. If you really just look at the question at hand that he's asking, darts in school as an option, as an extracurricular or a legitimate sport where high schools could travel to each other and compete, that's cool. If you can have freaking chess clubs in this modern day, like why
Esports
wouldn't you have
clubs.
darts too?
Esports
Esports
clubs.
clubs, yeah, like more options for non-athletic sports for folks that want to enroll their kids or kids that just want to self-enroll into things that are competitive but don't require athletic skill. Like that's cool. It's just more variety. And to Meredith's point, like it's one of the most incredible things because it's one of the cheapest hobbies you can have, and it is one of the most inclusive sports of all time. Like you can
Mhm.
virtually have anything going on, with socioeconomic backgrounds, like physical ability. Like it's just so open to folks, and it doesn't take much to kind of get hooked. It doesn't take much to get a little bit good quickly. I love stuff like that. For example, like golf, tennis, it takes a minute to develop those like basic skills to even just enjoy what's going on. In my
Mhm.
personal opinion, there are some things that just require a lot more, but like cornhole, darts, I don't know. It's one of those things you can practice by yourself. When I was a kid, my favorite sport was basketball because I could play by myself. Like things like softball, soccer, football, like those like really classic, really popular sports, like it's just rough. You got to get like 9 people together. I don't know. Just it's just a whole lot going on there, and we're more isolated than ever. So I can really see darts being a nice equalizer to like the way the world is going as just another activity to get kids together. And again, to Meredith's point, working on all the slew of skills that she's talking about. When you gamify anything, there's some statistic like if you make a game out of learning, a kid only needs to repeat it like 3 to 10 times to like actually consume that information and remember it, be able to regurgitate it. But if you're learning in a traditional setting, then they have to repeat the thing like 300 to 400 times for it to like permanently be in their mind and not just be some temporarily regurgitate. So it's just like I'm probably really butchering the quote, but you get my point. Lots of interesting things to think about there.
I will say, like, again, there's so many things kind of running through my mind. Like, I think about, like, if you just invested in just a couple grand boards, you could start a program tomorrow, or a couple of bristle boards you could start tomorrow, right? You could do that very easily. And I would say soft tip is actually a better intro because it's more gamified, because it's digital, and because of the fact that you don't have to worry about physical injury at all. Not that that should be concerned, but especially when you get to middle school and younger, it starts to become more of a problem, right? So there is aspects of that why I kind of lean that direction here in North America. Again, little biased, if knowing who signs my checks. But I think about this, right? And I think, okay, like if you did an investment, well, let's say you don't have the money in your school program to invest $1,000. Like, let's say it's $1,000. You want to buy, 3 grand boards and a couple sets of like darts that are donated. Well, guess what? If you're a vendor that cares and you have the ability to do so, there is no reason that you can't go and either A, you have an inventory. If you don't have an inventory, B, go to some of your locations that are not busy on a Sunday and pull a couple of boards over and do a pop-up, right? You could do something
Mm.
like that. Do the effort, do the hard thing, because the hard thing is what's going to create a long-standing future for the sport. Um, I think that there's a great opportunity coming up where we can really start to consider, okay, what happens if we start to make this nationalized? What if we? Because I tried to compile a bunch of data for youth dart players, and guess what? I had to ask a public Facebook post after a while. There's no real data. There's nothing that really shows anything here. And on top of that, legally speaking, there shouldn't be a lot of accessible minor data, but there's ways to do it properly, right? Imagine if we actually just had actual reportings of unique youth participants at individual tournaments. Imagine if there was one site that was in charge of just keeping track of this. We know that there's successful events. NDA Junior Nationals is a proven example of something like this, right? They clearly have done something right for so long now, and those kids freaking love it. So I will challenge the vendors and the local organizers to do the hard thing. I guarantee you, if you said, "Hey, a local dart community, the local Orlando community, I want to run a youth event. Can I borrow 5 grand boards?" I think there would be 5 people to donate. Hey, does anybody have some old sets I can donate to a kid? I'm sure that you have some old sets, some old flights, some old shafts that you could donate to a youth player. I think that the national bodies need to get better at working together on this specific data point. If if for no other reason than to help build up the next generation of dart players. And I think that even manufacturers like Bullshooter, I think that there should be a more concerted effort to try to target that. There should be a youth centric Chicago finals event. There should be a youth finals over at PPD. There should be these opportunities that exist, and they don't have to be married. You can make these separate little pockets, and then you can go and make these big opportunities. Maybe the big opportunity is you go to PPD and you have at least 16 kids sign up, and the winning kid gets a $5,000 scholarship fund, right? Or maybe a 5,000, maybe it's just for charity. Maybe it's just that simple. It doesn't have to, you don't have to actually do any payouts, especially if you're talking like truly like under 18 type youth tournaments. I think there, and then to one more point on this is, it's for manufacturers to try to figure it out. I'm going to say this, and you guys better calm down right now. I don't believe or know of any current new Bullshooter board in the works. This is true. I'm not saying this. I don't know, nor do I think there is one in the works currently. What I will say is that if you can figure out how to make this machine, not from the actual volume, but the actual noise imprint smaller, well, then maybe you get into coffee shops. Maybe you do get into a rec center. Maybe you do get into one of those things, right? But the noise imprint footprint is really loud, just the plastic hitting the board, right? That is one of the biggest drawbacks. That's actually why steel tip has such an advantage in getting into different kinds of places in the Northeast coast. So there's a lot of different factors here that can play it. All I know is that people just need to do the work. And frankly, it's hard because if you look at the business value of it, in the short term, it's non-existent. In the long term, it's exponential.
I think it's kind of like a lifelong experiment. The way I imagine it working only in the favor of like our actual darts community rather than it being just a separate conversation that might help kids and then we never hear from them again, like as adults coming into our community. But like I always think about American football, right? Like why do what is the yeah, what's the statistic? Over 65% of Americans consider themselves football fans. Like, okay, so what drives that narrative time and time and time again? It's like first, you have the top-down approach where you just see it on TV. It's just like the thing that's always played on every holiday. So you've got like the family traditions that are exposed to it. And it's like, who doesn't play a little bit of catch? Like young boys and girls. I threw a football. Like I didn't like play football, but it's like I've touched it
once or twice.
I've thrown a football. I've thrown a little Nerf football so much, like a little pool football. Like my point is, I've gotten my hands on it. It's like a visceral childhood memory, and it's something I can remember and maybe be inspired to like be interested in later. And it's like we don't have that same thing for kids with darts whatsoever. And unfortunately, the Luke Littler effect and the Bo Grease effect don't carry over as strongly into the United States. Like, yes, it has an impact, but it's nowhere near like what has happened in Japan, and then of course all of Europe and the UK. So all that aside, like my thought process is like if darts is just a regular thing that people expect like kids to get exposed to in a school board, and it's like probably a really cheap program to kind of, if you just pitch it to like schools and get it going, I feel like it would be really easy to convince them to not have this perception of it being dangerous or like whatever. I think that's like the silliest thing in the world. But the kids get exposed to it, and it doesn't matter to me, honestly, if it's steel tip or soft tip, especially even at like younger ages, as long as it's supervised, you have like teachers or coaches or whatever, they're there. Like you talk about the gamification and soft tip being so close to like a video game, like yes, but at least we have Dart Connect and Darts Counter. We have scoring applications now for steel tips, so it's still kind of fun. And if there was a version for kids that had some bells and whistles and some game animations, like
Dart Math,
obviously they're not going to
the little things. Remember those?
That's right. Yes, absolutely. I know they can't afford Scolias or Omnis or like the self auto scoring steel tip that does like have those features built in, but I can totally see a world in which like, okay, at least you've exposed like these kids to this as an option, and it's like a memory, and they're going to go on about their life. So I think we need to lean into the harsh truth that once a kid turns 18, like we cannot expect them to like be super dedicated into the sport until they're 21. So there's that awkward grace period where, yes, they still are going to go to college. I don't know the statistic, but it's something like it's over 60% of kids do enroll immediately into college. However, there's a gender gap. So men, I think it's only like 55%, and women's over 70%.
Ooga, ooga.
But anyway, you get my point. You get my point. It's like we are going to lose the vast majority of them to either college, like a vocational school. Kids are going to get their first job right out of high school. They're going to find their first romantic love. They're going to be busy being like a young adult and finding themselves and doing things. But I think creating some kind of a base for them to come back to is like that's miles ahead of like every other story in the world. I didn't even think of darts even remotely until I was 21. Like, and my parents had a dart supply shop. Like, I had every excuse to be like super into darts as a kid, and I just wasn't. It just didn't translate generationally for them for some reason. And like, thing I'll say is just it blows my mind that anyone would be worried about the perception of like darts being dangerous, even steel tip darts. Because what is it? Like football has the highest concussion rate in all of youth
Sure.
sports, right? We're sending thousands of kids to the hospital every year, repeated head impacts. And oh God, please, I'm trying to say kids shouldn't play football. Like that's not the stance I'm taking for this moment. I'm just trying to make a
That's what
point
she's saying.
that unsupervised anything can be dangerous, but we're talking about supervised darts program in school. Like it's not even remotely as dangerous as virtually any athletic sport where you can have torn ligaments or broken bones or concussions. Early onset, like childhood development, your brain matters so much. You're only helping it by trying to play darts as a kid. It is just like insane to me that people are worried about getting poked. Like, I don't know, Nick. I mean, I'm sure you've marked and chalked so many matches. Like, how many times has a dart bounced off the board and like actually stabbed you? Like, do you have personal like stories or people you know of that have had a lot of close calls?
I had one close call trucking a youth event once. I'm not gonna act like I haven't, but I will say to your point about danger, and this kind of goes into my last lever that I don't think to challenge a little bit of what you're saying here
Yeah.
is the lobbying and monopoly behind how youth sports work. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So I have a stepbrother. He's 13 years old, and for him to play in his U12 league or U14, whatever it is, baseball. I mean, it costs $2,000+ per player to be per season, multiple seasons a year, not mentioning that he has a $375 Cookie Monster bat. It is pretty cool. I didn't know that they like made skins for bats. It's pretty sick. It's like me buying the Star Wars line from Target. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like you have this big investment and stuff like that, but what the problem is not the actual average person thinking the danger of steel tip darts in kids' hands. The problem is that is still the talking point, that lobbying of making these official high school regulated sports. That's at the state level. That's always going to be the bigger issue. And the matter of the fact is that these other sports, while even though definitively more dangerous, is the same idea of why alcohol is allowed but marijuana isn't in a lot of places, right?
Yeah.
Is we just know the risk and we've accepted it for too long. If we're being definitive based off likelihood of risk, no one would ever sell alcohol again by that factor alone, just like they wouldn't allow football based off concussions. Again, not what we're saying should happen, but that's just definitively the case. So it's not about the actual tangible risk, but it's about the power of these the fact that actually building a true statewide and eventually nationwide high school based infrastructure for an official sport has so many roadblocks from all these different boards of all these different school districts of all these different places. That's why I would say the angle is what Sean Green did in having the middle school dart club. Having an after school club or
After school
activity
club.
around it is absolutely the way that you would be able to do this. And then you could do these official after school events, these Sunday morning tournaments, stuff like that then start to build around these stuff. And then once the population gets large enough, the demand gets high enough, that's when you make the push in, because esports clubs have finally started crossing that barrier. But esports clubs, when I remember when I was in high school, there's this game from Blizzard called Heroes of the Storm, and I was obsessed. And Heroes of the Storm then had a collegiate program called Heroes of the Dorm, and it was on ESPN2. And I thought, wow, ESPN2, you guys made it. But then when Darts on ESPN2, I'm like, really, we're on ESPN2? No offense, ESPN, if you're watching this, I'm happy to be back on there. But that being said, I gotta admit, like, that's because like what happened then was like a handful of things that happened outside of the purview, and then got built up over time, and then these esports clubs ended up becoming esports teams and official state championships. Right? That's how stuff like that has happened. It's the same idea for darts, getting clubs, getting total participation, starting to create avenues slowly, and focusing on legitimization, and then eventually you can target to have something more official. So, do I think that darts should be a high school sport? No. Do I think it can be one day? Absolutely.
Wait, do you think it could be a sport today? Is no. You don't, but you would
Correct.
advocate for it.
That's not,
Okay,
yeah,
because it
that's
sounded like you were
well,
just like,
what
no.
I'm saying is that we shouldn't even try that right now, though. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, we should try to make clubs. We should try to build up other types of events and youth
I
culture.
see.
We should try to build up tracking. We should not even bother to try to make an official high school sport. We should try to build up support systems and create pathways through high schools without actually doing it as a officially recognized high school sport or middle school sport.
I completely agree. And maybe someday down the road of your plan, we convince lobbyists to, you know, like continue allowing high impact collision sports in schools, and then maybe don't hesitate on the low movement precision sport that darts is, with pretty much zero perceived risk. So I love it. Cool.
That's the plan. That's the answer to today's appointed question. Yes, but no. No, but yes.
No, but yes.
No, but yes. And Jen, somehow we have made it through 4 episodes of the Pointed Questions podcast. We have gotten grumpy. We're ranting at people now. We're yelling at the
right.
people. We're judging their outfits. We're telling them what they shouldn't say on the internet. And we're telling them how their children should play darts. You know, I think we've really let this power get to our head.
I'm drunk with power. I don't know about you.
Mhm. Me as just a commentator on the CSC, I was like, oh, this is why Sean and Will treated me like this for 4 years. Got it.
Okay, folks, what should our pointed questions be for next episode? Please don't say the Olympics, because it's going to be the same thing. Yes, but no, no, but yes. Already answered that one for you. Just something fresh, new, something you've always been curious about. We can be self-proclaimed experts in anything. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, folks, I just hope you enjoyed it more than Milo. We really put him to sleep back there. He is conked out. He is
He's
done with our
bored
show.
out
Yeah.
of his mind.
Yeah,
He
we put
did.
Milo to sleep.
He did go out and bark at the dark. I just muted myself for that moment. Came back in, went right to sleep.
Well, yeah, you had to say, stop being dark out there. I'm scared.
Yeah.
And then now he's
Yeah.
back inside. Folks, make sure to check out Jen Mounts Darts over on YouTube and Facebook. Nick D does things over on YouTube and Facebook. If you guys want to follow along with all of our content here on the Pointed Questions podcast, solving darts and life's biggest mysteries, we're here every other Tuesday to help answer all those questions and many, many more. Don't put glass in your dog bowls, and have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.